got your back. Just so you see that.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with JJ Jara. Today's guest is Mr. World Shaker, Tim Storey. Tim.
Good to see you.
Pleasure to have you on my podcast. I'm literally getting the chills right now. This is no joke, Tim. Literally getting the chills. So awesome. Great to have you on my podcast. There's a lot of things that I want to cover. The time is limited, Tim. Nevertheless, I want us to have a real talk.
Yes.
You know, the name of the podcast is Real Talk with JJ Jara because I really wanted to be real, authentic. Mm-hmm. Give the audience, the viewers, the listeners, something that maybe they've never heard from Tim before.
Yes.
And how real can it get, right? I mean, we're in your new gym.
Right.
And we got weights here. We got, we have the whole setup here. Different than all the other podcasts or recordings you've done in the past.
No, I've never done one like this because of COVID-19. They shut down my gym and then they open it, and then they shut it down, open it. So one of my good friends said, Tim, let's just put a gym in your garage. And I couldn't believe he did it. He paid for everything, which is, wow. You see the...
Amazing.
The type of equipment we have here. So this is something I have to do. People always say to people like you or me, how do you keep up the energy? I gotta press. So part of it is in here doing this.
I love it. Tim, let's start there. How important is starting your day right for someone like yourself?
Yeah.
How important is that?
I think the main thing is, rather than just the discipline of everything, a lot of people talk about, being on your grind or beating the sun up. I think that's good for some people. But my thing is more about connecting to life and then letting life flow through me. So if I have a life source coming from God flowing through me, then I don't feel like I'm just doing it in my own human effort. If it was on my own human effort, there's no way I could accomplish what I accomplish. So I believe that God's super can come in our natural and make us supernatural. So even while I'm in this gym, I'm like listening to motivational podcasts. I'm listening to things that you're doing, other friends of mine are doing. I'm listening to Bible on tape. So I'm feeding my spirit, because out of my spirit is going to come that discipline and that want to.
Wow, amazing, Tim. I've been doing the whole morning routine for a few years now, but I have to admit, this year has been somewhat challenging because of the gyms, and I could use that as an excuse. But at the end of the day, I know that if you really want to do something, you do it.
Yes.
Gym, no gym, home, somewhere else. But I do know the importance of working out and starting your day right. But I also love the fact that you said that when you do something, you're doing other things at the same time, like listening to a great podcast, maybe listening to someone that helps you, motivates you, whatever the case may be, because it's very important.
Yes, that's going to help you, because I like to tie a reward to every effort that I do. And so if I'm not in the mood to go to the gym, what I would do is I'd listen to a book on tape or a podcast. So the reward is, I'm doing the work on the treadmill or doing the work lifting weights, but I'm hearing a great book.
Yes.
So I'm knocking out that book and doing that. So I like the discipline with the reward, It'll get you to move a little faster.
Absolutely, Tim. People wouldn't think that Mr. Tim Storey, the World Shaker, has a morning routine that you listen to audio, that you listen to book. They wouldn't think that.
7 days a week. So already this morning, so I was up at 4:30 this morning, and so I already this morning listened to 30 minutes of a show that I watched today. It was a show on Netflix, but it was a motivational show that somebody wanted me to watch. I've already been in here, the gym. So then I showered. Then I already made calls to overseas. And then I'm going to be bam, 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 knocking it out all day. But with this life flow. So I don't do it outside of the life flow. Outside of the life flow, you're going to wear out real quick.
Yeah.
So as you know, life is not a sprint, it's a marathon.
It really is. Now, Tim, we had a great conversation off camera, and I want to go back to that a little bit. Again, you asked me about some projects that I'm doing in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes.
And I shared why I'm doing that. And I want to talk about that. There's a couple of questions I wrote down just because I did not want to forget to cover that during the podcast. But one of them that I could remember was I wanted to ask you the importance of the word legacy. Mm-hmm. When I say the word legacy, what is the very first thing that comes to your mind?
Legacy means something that it's a standard. So to be a legend, it's a higher standard. But legacy is that the standard that you built now has an effect on future generations. So Michael Jordan is a legend, but he left a legacy in the fact that he affected Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. And so with your life, the thing that I love watching, I watch you every day, is that, I'm curious. So I'm like, man, what's JJ doing in Cleveland? Because I know Cleveland. I've been speaking in Cleveland for 30 years. And Cleveland is not easy to get to. It's usually one stop.
Yeah.
It's not like a straight LAX to Cleveland. You're going to have to go through Chicago, or you're going to have to go through another city to then get to Cleveland. So that takes effort. Mm-hmm. And then this part of the year, Cleveland is cold.
It's cold. It's actually snowing now.
Okay, you get my point?
Yeah.
So my thinking was, what's JJ doing in Cleveland? Well, what you're doing in Cleveland is that you are branching out into new territory. And as we spoke about earlier, you are branching out new territory, not just for yourself, but for your children's children.
Yes.
And so in our eyes, you are becoming legendary, and then you will become a legend, and then you will have a legacy. Right now, you're legendary.
I love that. So, what I'm doing, Tim, it's quite honestly, I'm doing what I feel that needs to be done for me to leave that legacy behind.
Yes.
You see, and I got to be very honest. I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for myself and family. So I'm being selfish in that way.
Yes.
However, along the way, I know I'm helping a lot of other people besides my family. Why? Because I'm putting it out there. Why? Because I'm showing people, look,
yes,
I'm doing it, my kids are doing it, so can you. So I'm being selfish, but at the same time, I'm being selfish for a good reason. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you about that, Tim. That was another question I had here in my notes. How do you feel about being selfish or doing certain things for you before you do for others? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think what happens is that when you truly learn to live life, not just go through life. Number one, I do believe that we should live the gift. So like early JJ, being into sports or energy, or you're funny or you're creative, you must have had a good gift of gab, because look how pretty your wife is.
For sure.
Okay, so I believe in living. So a lot of people think giving first, but this is a twist on this. You got to live to give. You got to have something to give something.
That's right.
You cannot give from an empty tank.
That's right.
Is that powerful stuff, right?
Yes.
So what I like, that when I see you, your wife, and your kids, I see life. And out of that life, then we give out of that life flow.
Yes.
And so when you give out of that life flow, it's an interesting thing. it feels like it leaves your hands, but it really never does. Because in the realm of God, you reap what you sow. And so the more energy you give, energy comes back. The more love, love comes back. The more you do to help in humanitarian efforts, it comes back.
I remember when I first met you, and we had our first, one of our very first conversations, and you asked me something I still, to this day, I always replay it in my mind. And you asked me, JJ, what's your mission?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did.
What's your mission? And I didn't know how to answer that.
Yeah.
But through your coaching, through your mentoring, through your teaching, now I know what my mission is.
Yes.
Now I know what my calling is. And my calling is to help people, Tim, just like you do.
Yes.
My calling is to inspire new generations, to leave a legacy and help other people leave legacies behind. And I also feel that I have to give.
Yes.
Because I really consider myself a giver.
You are a giver.
However, I do feel and I do understand that I must have a full tank.
You have to.
In order for me to give.
Yes.
I cannot give if I'm not full.
Yes.
To give.
So number one, the reason I asked you your mission is because everybody that's watching today, they have this word called potential.
Right.
Potential. You could see somebody on American Idol, The Voice, and you go, wow, they have potential. But why is it that only a few people from those shows have ever become stars? I mean, they'll sit there and wow the judges, and the judges will go like, wow, oh my God, you made me cry. Okay, but how come so few of them have become stars? Maximum 5.
Yes.
Okay, so when I first saw you, I said to myself, whoa, I could feel your potential. You didn't even have to say anything. And let me tell you what I saw. I saw a man with great posture, a man with great style. You had flair, you had a way about you. So that to me was the potential. So now I needed to see, but what is he doing with that potential? Is he using it just to draw attention to himself? Is he using it just for his own gain? But as soon as you begin to speak words, I said, oh man, I was right. My feelings were right, and my feelings were, this guy is a world shaker. This is a guy that's going to really affect the planet. And so that's the difference between you and other people, is that you have potential, but you decided to activate your potential. You got to activate it.
So good, Tim. I've had a conversation this morning with my office, with some of the agents in my office, and I'm pushing them to leverage social media. Right now, I'm on a social media trip with my agents, and I'm just trying to get across the importance of being on social media. Everyone, the whole world's on social media, by the way. So I tell them, go and play where everybody's playing.
Yes.
Go and put out more content. Go and do this. And I said, we all have the potential. The only thing that you're lacking is the action part.
Yes.
Because you all have a phone. You all can record content. But I just need you to take action. And that's exactly what you said. Everyone has potential, but not everyone will take action.
Yes, you're exactly right. And the beautiful thing is that when one person in the family takes action, it starts to become contagious, okay? And so I see your son, boom, he's taking action. Your daughters are taking action. Your wife, I think she's already taken action, maybe even before you. Yeah. But so you have a family that is moving. And so, but it's going to go from a family to an extended family, which is our relatives.
Yes.
To an extended family, which is touching the world.
Yes.
I remember one time I was speaking in the Ukraine, and it was pouring down snow. I mean, pouring down snow. And I pulled up to this building, and there were 6,000 people waiting for me to do this motivational talk. You gotta remember, we're both from LA, right? And so it's pouring down snow, and I see in Russian, they say a bunch of things, and then it said my name, Tim Storey. And I literally got emotional because I thought, look at these people in line in the snow to get in to see Tim Storey. And they said to me, we don't know how we're going to get the people in. There's so many people that want to see you.
Wow.
They're in line in the snow. I see my name, all the things in Russian in my name, and it hit me that the impact went from me to my children, to my sisters, to my mother, to my relatives, all the way to Ukraine.
Tim, did you ever saw yourself when you were a young kid from Compton?
Yeah.
Did you ever saw yourself being who you are now?
I would say absolutely not. When I saw myself doing better than the normal guy.
Yes.
And that's not a bad way to start. Like, for instance, so we used to have 2 dishwashers, me and a guy named Mickey. Mickey was lazy, I was not. I was 15 and a half, okay? So I was better than the next guy because Mickey was lazy. Then I was the bus boy. We had 5 bus boys at this restaurant. I was better than all of them. So all I wanted to do is I just wanted to be better. Not to compete, but I wanted to raise the standard. So everything I've ever wanted to do, I've always wanted to be better, get better. If I had a problem, get better. If I had a temper, get better. If I needed to spend more time with my family, get better. I've been through a divorce, get better. So whatever it was, get better. And my getting better took me to the world.
I love that. The reason I asked that, Tim, is because this interview, this podcast is going to help a lot of people. Mm-hmm. However, right now I'm being a little selfish. I'm asking these questions for myself.
Yes. I
want to know, because I've always felt that same way, Tim. Mm-hmm. I remember my mom, she used to tell me, you're supposed to die because you're a preemie. You were born before my due date.
Wow.
And she used to tell me, the doctor told me when I was in labor that you're going to die.
That's serious right there. Yeah.
Because you came before. But I also remember her saying, but I remember asking God to let you live because you're going to do something great in this world.
Wow.
And I remember that, Tim.
Huge.
And then she wanted to tell me, you have a big mission, big responsibility. And now that I'm thinking about it, she used to tell me, it's your job to find out what that is.
Yes.
And so I've always, ever since I was a kid, she used to tell me that. And so I've always known that I was left in this world. Yes. I was allowed to survive, yes, to live, for a bigger reason, for a mission. So yes. I've always known that there's something huge. There's something big.
100%.
I don't know what it is, Tim, because we're still going at it.
Yeah.
But I know there's a big mission. So I've always felt the same thing like you. Like I don't know how big or how many people I'm going to be able to impact in my life. I do know this much, that I am here for a big mission.
Yeah. So as someone that you allow to let me serve you and mentor you, so let me expand and tell you what I think part of your mission is. Okay. Because that's what a true coach will do. So Phil Jackson, even though he worked with Michael Jordan, he knew how to pull even more game out of Jordan. Yes. So I'm going to pull some more game out of you.
Please.
So I think part of your mission is that you found a skill set. And the skill set is the fact that you have mastered things in your mind. You have a very strong mind, but you've disciplined your mind to get good at something. So if you decided to get into the real estate world, you decided to be better than the next person.
Yes.
Okay. So you have mastered a certain skill set. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
All right. So now, the Bible says, do you see a man skilled at his work? He will serve in the presence of the elite. See, people think it takes a lot of different skills. No, one skill could take you to the elite. Your main skill is you mastered a mindset. You have an amazing mindset. And that mindset is right now used in the area of real estate. But that's just the beginning. You're going to be in this world, real estate, but then you're going to be in this business and this business and this business and this business. And how are we going to do it? I'm just going to take your mindset, helicopter it from business to business, and then you're running an empire.
Wow. I think
that's what you're going to do.
Thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate you that. I remember you saying something like that when we first connected. Yes. And I remember hanging up the phone and called my wife. Said, babe, you're not going to believe what Tim just said.
It's going to happen.
And she said, you used to tell me that when we first got together.
It's going to happen.
Because I remember Tim being, early 20s. We got together, young age. And, I had a 9-to-5 warehouse job.
Yeah.
Only paid, just a little bit above minimum wage back then. And I used to look at her and I used to say, hey, I don't know how this is going to happen.
Yeah.
When it's going to happen. But I'll tell you this, though. Something huge is going to happen.
It's going to happen.
And so I've always said that. And she said, oh, my God, you've always said that.
Yes. But see, do you see a person skilled? So what you did is you took what you could, your potential, and you're working to get more and more skilled at it. So skilled that you got my attention. So when you get the attention of somebody who's skilled himself, that's when you know you're onto something. Okay?
That's good.
So now you notice, see, the LA Lakers, because we're from LA, they won the championship. But notice they did not keep all the players from the championship team. Why? Because I believe that LeBron doesn't like flowing with every player that was there.
That's right.
Because he didn't see the work ethic coming from some of them. So they went and they retooled the team, even though they won the championship. Okay, now, so a person like me that has worked so hard at what I do, it takes one to know one. So when I see you, and I see you in Cleveland working your butt off, then I see you back home working your butt off, then I get to speak at your conference, right? Then I see you spending family time, then I see your family businesses you're running, right? So what I see is a person, you're working your craft, you're working your craft, and that skill set is taking you to these beautiful places.
Tim, one of the questions I had here it was in regards to that, the word balance.
Yes.
I want to ask you, what are your thoughts in regards to work and family?
Yes.
That balance in between. What's your take on that?
So I would say this, and this is the beautiful thing about someone older than you and you being younger than me, that I can learn from you. So I'm going to say something that I never said on any interview. Like, I look up to you for how you've maintained your family. Because I married into a Mexican family that was very powerful. My former father-in-law was a person that worked with President Bush Sr. and George W. Bush. I mean, this is a brilliant man with a doctorate, known all over the world. I asked him for his daughter's hand in marriage. She has her master's degree. She graduated from USC. Our marriage lasted 11 years and didn't work. Now, I think that it was two things. It was one on her end, but on my end, I was definitely too busy. And because I was so busy, it would bother her and she'd put up blocks and I didn't know what was going on, but I stayed busy. But I see you having more of a balance than I did when I was coming up. Had I had more balance, I think I could have maintained my family. Now, my ex-wife and I are best friends to this day. She comes here sometimes several times a week. We watch movies. And I even asked her like a couple years ago, I go, should we get back? Because it's been like 17 years. She goes, No. She goes, your life's too hectic. But she goes, but you're the best ex-husband I've ever had. But so no, I look up to you in this, is that, you know, you have to have the balance. You have to have the family time. You have to have the date night. So by the grace of God, I've been able to keep that. But I will admit this, that was a fault of mine when I was coming up. I think I spread myself out too much.
That's why I wanted to cover that, Tim. You're such a knowledgeable individual. I have so much respect for you. But I wanted to ask you that question because there's a lot of people right now that are in the trenches right now. Right now, the people are working to come up. They're working to create something. Mm-hmm. But I often see in my business, in the real estate business, that a lot of people, I want to say the divorce rate in our industry, the real estate industry and lending industry, is probably 80%.
Wow. See, I never knew that.
And it could be, one, because we give too much to the business and we forget about the family side.
Yes.
But the second thing that I honestly, and I have to say this, is because there's so much temptation around us all the time. Real estate people, you know, the people that carry themselves in a good way, they're well dressed all the time.
It's a sexy group.
It's a sexy group.
It is. I the first real estate convention I spoke at years ago, I thought to myself, there's a lot of good-looking people here.
Yeah,
it's a sexy group. Yeah,
it really is, and so it could be very tempting. Yeah, very tempting because, you know, people are always looking their best. You know, there's too many distractions going on, and I can see how someone could go to the right, instead of going to the left, and so. For me, Tim, I feel that if you have the right intention, going into whatever it is that you're doing, you're gonna stay in your lane.
I totally agree, and I'll give you another one to add to this. I remember one time I went grocery shopping, and I made a mistake because it was like 1 p.m. and I had not eaten anything all day. And JJ, I just started pulling stuff out the shelf. That's a true story. I was even in the frozen food section, and I had not eaten these chicken pot pies since I was a kid when we were poor. And I started getting chicken pot pies. Now the reason was because I was hungry. I had not eaten all day.
Yes.
But here's what I find. If you're full and you go shopping, you will not usually reach for things you don't need. So if you're full at home and you're full with your kids and your wife, right?
So good.
And your heart is full, your spirit is full and content, I don't want anything. Like for me, I'm around sexy people. I work in Beverly Hills since my late 20s. I mean, imagine who I met. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was around, you know, I won't say their names, but you know, everybody you can imagine, from the most beautiful models to the Baywatch girls to all kinds of people. But when your heart is full, okay, you don't want to reach for things that other people reach for.
Yeah.
And not saying that I did not make some mistakes and date some people after I was divorced that I would have changed it up, but I really learned that that's not the way I wanted to go.
Yeah. How important is it to start doing something and know what you need to do versus going somewhere else? Like meaning like taking care of your image.
Yes.
Like you're a world-known individual. Mm-hmm. How important is it for you to carry yourself a certain way so you don't damage that image?
It's huge because I get noticed every day of my life. So if I go to get gas, just to get gasoline, it's a good chance on certain days that I'll get noticed. If I could just go into the 7-Eleven, someone will say something. A lot of times when I'm driving down the freeway, someone will speed up and they'll like scream at me or say something. So a lot of people saw me that I didn't see them, because I've been speaking for 40 years. I've been to 75 countries, and I've been on a lot of different TV shows. I used to be on CNN News all the time for probably about 10 years, and the stuff I've done with Oprah and all the other things. So people see you, but you don't see them. So I really, as you know, you watch me, I keep my standard really high. Even on airplanes, how I talk to people, how I don't talk to people. If I'm in Las Vegas and maybe a guy will say like, hey, we're gonna play blackjack right here, I'm not out in the middle like joking with a bunch of guys, because it's not a good scene for me. And sometimes people have made fun of me. They're like, oh, they don't know you here. And then as soon as they say that, someone comes up and goes, oh my God, Tim Storey. So no, when I leave this house, boom, I realize I'm representing the standard.
Wow, that is so important, Tim, because we often forget about that.
Yes.
People, how important is it for people that are some way, somehow influence others for them to uphold a certain standard? Do you think like that's a must and it should be on their mind all the time?
100%, because what happens is that you are a billboard that somebody else is reading. So if you're a mother and you're being negative just because you're negative, like, oh, that's how my mother was, I'm negative too. That's not good. You're a billboard, and now your daughter's seen it, your son's seen it, and so we need to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves.
That's right.
So I'm always working on myself. I refuse to let myself go in any part of my life. I'm going to keep the standard way up here.
Yeah. Speaking about high standards, how important is it to partner up with the right people?
Yes.
I know you're big on that.
Big.
How like, please tell me about that.
So big. Is that because you could have the right plan. So you got the plan. So JJ's got the plan for the next year, 2021. You could be the right person, okay? Work on yourself. Do all these things, all these disciplines. But if you have the wrong partner, the partner can jack everything up. And so what I've seen is good people like yourself, male or female, that they partner with the wrong people that had, watch this, different motives and a different mindset. The motives could mess us up. So many people want Tim Storey, but they got jacked up motives.
Wow. So
every day of my life.
So how do you do to spot them from far away?
Okay.
How do you do it?
So number one, I become a pro. So I used to get, because I've been single a long time, I used to think, oh man, it's me. No, they want something from me.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm saying in case of a female, maybe like an actor that I'd see on TV would come to see me speak in Beverly Hills at one of our meetings we do. And at first I used to go, oh, it's me. No, usually it wasn't. It was to get to me, to get to something else. And so I become an excellent spotter, but I got guys around me. You know that.
Yes.
You see how close I am to guys like Joseph. I got people around me that they're like, no, don't trust him. No, watch it. Don't do that. No, you seem like, no, don't do it. I listen.
Good.
And you know who's one of the best is my mother. Yeah, my mother is 90, and my mother is the best at spotting somebody.
Well, yeah.
If I ever date somebody and I'm like starting to get serious, she's going to mom's house. And my mother will make us tacos and just watch her.
That's right. That's right. Well, you know the nice thing about having someone like your mother,
like my mother, a Latin woman.
It's she's most likely seen it all.
She's seen it all.
And so you can't pull a fast one on somebody that's already been there, done that.
Listen, I was dating a famous girl, okay? And I'll tell you off camera who it was. And she came and sat on my lap in front of my mother and started feeding me food at my mother's house. How disrespectful is that? That's bad, right?
Mom didn't like that.
She cut her eyes at her, and I'm not kidding. The girl got up and went back to her chair.
Wow.
Like, get off my damn son's lap and quit feeding him food.
Well, you know, it's a great way to have good people that love you.
Yes.
That see things that we don't see.
Yeah, because my strength is compassion, but that's also my weakness. So I will sometimes fall for a good story.
Yeah.
So I need guys like you around to go like, hey, you know, we love you so much. Nah, don't do that. Back off. Yeah.
I also saw the interview that you did with Grant, the most recent one. Mm-hmm. And he asked you about, you guys were talking about, you know, saying no.
Yes.
And learning how to say no more often and not saying yes to everything that comes your way.
For his life and for my life, because you saw Grant got very emotional during that interview.
He did.
Because we're real brothers. We talk a lot. And for me, it's hard, man. But, you know, I would say that most opportunities that come to me, I have to say no to. Because I would not accomplish what I'm accomplishing. Like in front of us, we have the book that you have in your hands.
Yes.
So we have a new book being launched any day now. With HarperCollins, it's not easy to get book deals, mostly with the #1 publisher in the world. I have a new cartoon that I'm doing with Randy Jackson that I helped create, a new cartoon for kids. It's out of this world. I'm working on a new movie, as you know. I got TV shows that I'm working on. Working on all these different projects, all these businesses I'm a part of. And so, you know, I can't do the things that I did even 10 years ago.
You have to be very selective with
Yes, and I'm never rude, and that's where it takes a village. That I have a lot of guys on my team that will say no for me. If it's a real good friend and they're asking me for a favor and I just can't pull it off because of time, I'll call them myself. But I think that's a thing that you have to learn. You have to learn to be good at saying no.
Absolutely. Tim, I know we're running out of time. Nevertheless, I wanted to go ahead and show the world your newest book.
Yes.
That you're releasing. When is this going to be out?
So you're the first podcaster that is doing this. Now I'm gonna do all the shows. They've already said yes, and you're the first one that we're doing this with right now.
I love that.
So Tim Storey, The Miracle Mentality, is coming out March 1st, but all over the world. So if you figure that I've been to 75 countries, we're launching it all over the world. It's going to be in many, many languages down the line, including Spanish.
Nice.
But March 1st, it's coming out, and amazing people endorse the book. They said, can you get some people to endorse it? And when I threw my list and I had all the endorsements, they went nuts. But it's about this. It's about not having a mundane life or a messy life, but having a miracle life. You don't have to be mundane, messy, but you can be miraculous. And I'm going to take you step by step on how to do it.
I love that. So I know you've written many books. This is your most recent one, The Miracle Mentality.
Yes.
Super excited to get this book. I will connect with Joseph, get a bunch of them. I want you to please sign them, so I'll go ahead and give them to people that will appreciate a good book from you. Tim, it was a pleasure, literally a pleasure to have you on my podcast. Do you believe in putting things out there to the world and God? You believe in that?
100%. Yes.
So about a year and a half ago, I think I've known you for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
The very first time I saw you was at the 10X Growth Con with Grant.
Yes.
And I saw you and you had that presence. And then I come to find out that you're local here in Placentia.
Yeah.
And I remember the very first time I was going to come to your service, I said to myself, I'm getting ready. I remember like it was yesterday. I'm getting ready in the morning to come to your service. I'm saying, I'm going to meet Tim. I'm gonna shake his hand.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a great photo with him, and I'm also going to become his friend.
Yeah.
And I told my wife that. And so a year and a half, 2 years later, here we are in your home. Thank you so very much for that, Tim.
You're my friend, but you're my family, and you're next. And you know, so it's a privilege for me to help guide you at times, but I'm also learning from you. I'm really not joking with you. So it's a mixture that's needed for your life and for my life. And so it's a privilege to watch you just take the standard this high and leave the legacy.
Awesome. Tim, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing this. Guys, I'm sure you're going to love this podcast, this recording. Please comment, like, share with everyone, because I'm here with Mr. World Shaker himself. Tim, again, one more time, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
That's a wrap.